Hello guys, today I would like to talk about something that's a little bit technical, a little bit nerdy, but it's fine. So for those of you who aren't in the tech circlers, don't know all about the ones and zeros and the nerdy stuff like that, there's a movement that was founded by basically Louis Rossmann, and it's called Right to Repair, right? And he basically is going after a lot of the anti-repair manufacturers, the Apples of the world, with the soldered-on SSDs, and all of these horrible things that make it so technicians can't, do simple repairs on their products, so that they want them to basically buy a new one or, send it to Apple to pay X amount of ridiculous dollars. And, I would say that while right now it's an interesting debate, in the future it's not really going to be possible to repair virtually everything, or very much in fact. As technology improves, the average, ability for a repair person to even handle something is going to become impossible, just based on a technology. Even if the companies aren't malicious, the future is in non-repairability. Let's just look at, for instance, an industry I know really well from my, if you don't know, I used to be a data recovery technician. So we'll talk about like what right to repair, is as far as data recovery and hard drives. So for those of you who don't know, as far as spinning 3.5-inch hard disks go, the newest thing is going to be these helium-based drives, right? It's only on the larger ones that this is happening at the moment, but eventually it'll work its way down until probably most hard drives are helium-based. And so why are these what do I mean when I say hard drive is helium-based? I mean that inside of the hard drive it's pressure sealed and the inside is fully helium, so you can make the platters and the other metallic parts lighter, so you can fit more of them. For instance, a lot of the 18 and 16 and 20 terabyte disks now that are going out, the singular hard drive models of those capacities, are helium-based disks. And if you're trying to do data recovery on that, if you're trying to repair something like that, that's simply not going to go forward realistically, because you need, I don't even know what you would need, proper helium pressure chambers to be able to open it up. This is a little bit more than just having, a $250 laminar flow hood, this isn't a mini clean room setup here. You're looking at, technology which you would have to have something where you could adjust the pressure of the helium to what's inside of the hard drive, and then open it up and then do the data recovery then, and then you could potentially maybe get the data in a situation like that, but it's a big yikes. Right now, no one can really handle the helium-based drives, as far as I know, in the data recovery business. So, it is what it is. And as technology progresses further and further towards things like that, as these little boxes get more and more complicated, not just because Apple is soldering SSDs to motherboards, or making things break when you open it intentionally, or making them very, very fragile, just as a point where a machine has to assemble them. But just the technology itself is going to get to a point where the average person is not going to have the means to be able to edit something like that. And I think that's a pretty perfect example. How many people are going to have helium chambers in their, repair shop just to do data recovery on hard drives? Very, very few, considering the prices that would be associated with something like that, if it's all possible or going to work like that. Again, and there's a whole bunch of other tech-related stuff where certainly there's always going to be a way where you can repair your radio or whatever, or certain old school equipment like a tractor or something like that, or basic circuit board repairs, all of that. That's still going to be possible for most consumer end products, but for computers and a lot of these high-end electronics that you would naturally assume are going to go with a repair shop, eventually you're just going to get to the point where it's not really going to be feasible for most people to repair them, and you're going to have to send it back to the manufacturer just because they're the only ones that are going to have these type of facilities. I think a good example too is just looking at semiconductors and how in-depth it is to, how many places on the planet can even manufacture some of these 1 nanometer chips, right? I'll give you a hint, not a lot. It depends on when you watch this video and what your opinion is on it, but just given that, all of technology is eventually going to hit that point to where things are too complicated for your average Joe. It's not about, you don't just have a circuit board in front of you anymore, and you need to, fix a trace or whatever, and that's going to fix a lot of these issues. Going forwards, you know, most computer repair is going to be on a level that's much too complicated for anything really that, these random repair shops are going to be able to handle. So I would say it's a cute issue at the moment, but eventually it's going to be pretty much a moot point as we head towards our dystopian future, full throttle in a sense. It's much more interesting to have to keep around legacy technology, and hopefully that's where what he's going with it sort of goes through it, is this, sort of retro community, like a lot of the, retro communities as far as PC parts and like video games go these days, where they have this ancient technology. And I'm not saying we want to have like $10,000 SNES games again, right? That was ridiculous. Like, no one should have to bother with that. Like, having investors speculating on ancient unopened video games is ridiculous. But moving towards something like that where these people either remake or maintain legacy technology, hopefully free of things like the Intel Management Engine and the NSA spying backdoors in all of your computers, that might be, an area where we can go through and start looking for forward growth as far as, like, that kind of right to repair type movement. And, again, I think this whole thing gets subsumed by, the whole FOSS architecture, the whole Linux architecture. I think it all just gets absorbed into that, and then people really don't think about it too much going forwards. Like, I imagine most repair shops are just going to die off, especially as we head towards, the unification of technology and everyone going into, a few select mega corporations, which is inevitable at this point. It's sad, but that's the reality, or where I see right to repair and a lot of the ideology behind it going. Maybe I'm wrong, hopefully, but I don't think so. Either way, you have a good day.